The economics of beer bottles. Although we are not directly in control of what happens to our environment, our small actions can have a large impact, even something as small as a beer bottle. Due to South Africa's hot climate, cold drinks like beer are hugely popular, especially during a braai or a rugby match, or even a day out with friends. Beer consumption in South Africa was pegged at 60 liters per capita in 2012, and the beer market is expected to grow by 9% annually over the next 5 years. This high consumption of beer means lots and lots of beer bottles. What does that mean? More beer bottles. Duh! However, the life cycle of beer bottles has lots and lots of negative impacts known as externalities. You may be wondering what an externality is. Well, an externality occurs when economic decisions create real costs or benefits for parties other than the decision maker. To look at the externalities caused by the glass beer bottles, we need to look at the life cycle of beer bottles through life cycle analysis. Firstly, there's mineral extraction. Glass is made up of sand, soda ash, limestone, dolomite, and feldspar. These are mined and quarried, which is not only extremely energy intensive, but also environmentally degrading and can cause human health problems. The material is then transported for processing. This is also fuel intensive. The raw material is manufactured into glass. The materials are mixed and baked in a blast furnace at over 1500 degrees Celsius. After a couple of rounds in the furnace, the glass is shaped, then cooled. All this heat means a lot of energy consumption and greenhouse gas emissions. The bottles are then transported to the brewery, where they are filled with beer to be sold around the country to the bars and shops. Whoa, so much energy is being used here. The bottled beer is drunk by every type of person and at almost any occasion. And let's face it, after 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 beers, you're more than likely to throw those bottles in the bin. So shouldn't we know what's going to happen to the bottles after we throw them in the bin? Of course! The used bottles are deposited in a landfill, where it takes 1 million years for one glass bottle to decompose. There's a lot of transport, energy, and material involved in the production of a simple beer bottle. Approximately 2 tons of carbon dioxide produce 1 ton of glass when all transport is factored in, which is certainly not helping the climate change situation, don't you think? Therefore, there is a need for environmental policy instruments to combat these negative effects. Since it's the average South African who enjoys a beer while watching rugby, soccer, or any given Sunday, engaging with the public is a clever way of implementing policy instruments such as labeling and certification. Other policy instruments use the market. For instance, the deposit refund system, which is a market-based instrument used to address externalities. There's a surcharge on a product when purchased and a rebate when it's returned. So how about some simple maths to convince you? If you and your friends buy a case of quartz every year for a year and return all of them, you will make 561 Rand and 60 cents every year. That's quite a tidy profit, don't you think? Like Peruvian taxes, deposit refund system aims to limit pollution of various types by creating an incentive to return a product. Luckily, South Africa has one of the most sophisticated glass returnable systems in the world, and more than 99% of all quart bottles are returned to retail outlets as a result of the deposit that is paid back to consumers. Yay! Returnable glass bottles can be used at least 21 times before they have to be sent for recycling. Each year, just under 1 million tons of glass enters the South African market. And get this, it is estimated that the return system prevents 2 million tons of new glass from being produced, which could have potentially ended up in the landfills. So, does recycling really make a difference? Well, here are some fast facts. Glass is enduring. It's 100% recyclable. Recycling 4 glass bottles means you can power a TV for an entire rugby game. Spend 100 minutes on a Tinder or burn a 100-watt light bulb for 4 hours. And that's just a case of beer. Every 10% increase in recycled glass equals a decrease of 1% in electricity and natural gas, 6% in furnace temperatures and nitrogen oxide, 8.5% in raw materials, 10% in sulfur dioxide, and 17% in carbon dioxide. If the South African brewery, SAB, didn't use returnable bottles, 1.2 million tons of carbon dioxide would be produced per year. But instead, SAB produces only 360,000 tons of carbon dioxide as a result of recycled bottles. The glass recycling process is quick and efficient. In as little as 30 days, the same bottle can make its way from your fridge to the recycling bin, to your local liquor store, and back into your fridge. If you're not too keen on recycling, or you're more likely to forget, try drinking a draft beer, or buy kegs when you have a party. Less energy spent in the production process. If you want a take-home message and you've completely forgotten what we just said in this documentary, just remember to be a good South African citizen. Drink responsibly and recycle responsibly. Let's try and reduce our beer footprint.
We gotta learn to reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce, reuse, recycle.